Chosen one, listen to something that is going to completely change how you understand your life. 3 weeks ago, you did something you considered insignificant, a gesture so small you probably already forgot it. But in that exact moment, in celestial dimensions, something occurred that had only happened 4 times in all documented human history. God laughed with joy. He did not smile subtly. He did not feel quiet satisfaction. He laughed. 49 seconds of genuine, pure, devastatingly happy laughter that made every spiritual dimension vibrate with a frequency angels had not heard in centuries. And when I say he laughed, I am not using poetic language to make you feel special. I am revealing a literal event that reorganized celestial priorities and left even the eternal accuser speechless for the first time since the foundation of the world. Now, before you dismiss this as another motivational message meant for someone else, let me tell you about those 4 other times. Once in 1347, a monk gave his last bread to a dying child, despite not eating for 6 days. In 1863, a former slave saved her master's family from danger. In 1976, a janitor spent his life savings on a stranger's surgery, someone who had mocked him. And in 2019, a homeless veteran shared his only blanket with a teen who had just tried to steal from him. Each time, heaven fell silent first. Then came the laughter. Not polite acknowledgement, not professional satisfaction, but the kind of joy a father feels when his child naturally manifests the values he hoped to see without force, without even remembering they were taught. Pure, instinctive, real. Your spontaneous act 3 weeks ago made God laugh with that same joy. And right now, as you are hearing this, you are probably thinking, I have got the wrong person. That this message is for someone holy, someone who dedicates their life to extraordinary works, someone who fasts 40 days or preaches in the streets. But let me destroy that illusion immediately. It was not religious sacrifice that provoked divine laughter. It was your spontaneous kindness, that purity you manifest without calculating, the way you react when nobody is watching, and you expect nothing in return. And that is infinitely rarer than any spiritual discipline. Subscribe to this channel right now and turn on all notifications, because what I am about to reveal about how a gesture you considered insignificant can generate joy in God's heart is being systematically hidden from people like you, who have a purity you do not even recognize as power. And stay until the end, because I am going to show you exactly what you did, why God experienced genuine joy instead of simple satisfaction, and how even the devil, who always has something to accuse, fell into absolute silence when he witnessed the authenticity of your soul. If you feel in your spirit that you do kind things without thinking twice, without expecting recognition, write Amen in the comments right now. Because what I am about to reveal requires you to be honest with yourself about who you really are beneath all the masks you wear for survival. First, you need to understand what exactly you did 3 weeks ago, because I would bet everything I own that you do not even remember the specific moment, and that is precisely why it was so powerful. Let me take you back to that day. It was a Tuesday afternoon. The sky had that heavy gray quality that makes everything feel slightly hopeless. You were walking down the street, probably on your way home from work or running an errand you had been putting off. Your mind was not on spiritual matters. You were thinking about your own problems. You have enough worries, enough burdens nobody sees. There are debts keeping you awake at night, relationships draining you. That loneliness you do not share with anyone because everyone thinks you are fine. Your phone had just buzzed with another bill reminder. Your back hurt. You were tired in that deep way that sleep does not fix anymore. And you were wondering, as you have wondered so many times before, whether being good in such a cruel world is worth the cost. Whether your kindness is strength or just naive weakness that people exploit. You were immersed in those thoughts, walking past people without really seeing them, the way we all do when we are wrapped in our own survival mode. And then you saw someone needing help. It was not a dramatic situation. There were no cameras recording. There was no crowd watching to applaud you afterward. It was just you and another person in a moment. Nobody else witnessed. Maybe it was an elderly woman who had dropped her groceries and they were rolling into the street. Maybe it was a young mother struggling with a stroller on the stairs, while other people walked past looking at their phones. Maybe it was someone sitting on the sidewalk with a sign, and something in their eyes told you this was not a con but genuine desperation. The details do not matter as much as what happened next, because your first instinct, your immediate reaction without filters or calculations, was to help. You did not stop to ask if that person deserved your kindness. You did not calculate if you would get anything back. You did not evaluate if it was convenient to get involved, or whether you had the time or energy to spare. You did not think about whether other people would judge you for stopping or for not stopping. You simply saw need and responded with instant generosity, as if your fundamental nature had no other option but to give. And here is what makes this moment absolutely extraordinary. You were exhausted. You were broke. You were emotionally drained. You had every logical reason to keep walking, to preserve your limited resources for yourself, to say, "I have got my own problems," and move on like 99% of people would have done. But you did not. Something deeper than logic took over. Something that has been part of your essence since before you can remember. Probably since you were a child and you shared your lunch with the kid who had none, or you defended the bullied student when it would have been safer to stay quiet, or you comforted your mother when she cried, even though you were scared and did not understand what was happening. This instinct did not come from religious discipline. It was not because you remembered a Bible verse about charity. It was not because you wanted to accumulate spiritual points or feared divine punishment. It was automatic. Natural, as if your soul does not know how to function any other way than kindly. You helped because helping is what you do. The same way your lungs breathe without you telling them to. The same way your heart beats without you having to remember. Your kindness is that fundamental to who you are. And in that exact moment, in celestial dimensions you cannot see with physical eyes, something profound occurred. The angels who had been assigned to watch you stopped their other duties. Raphael, who had been healing a child in Argentina, paused. Michael, who had been in spiritual combat over Jerusalem, looked up. Gabriel, who had been delivering a message in Tokyo, turned his attention toward you. Because spontaneous kindness of this purity is so rare in this fallen world that it demands the attention of the highest orders. Write in the comments one act of kindness you did when no one was watching, when you had nothing to gain. Let your story inspire others who feel alone in their purity. Now let me explain why that spontaneous gesture had so much spiritual power. Because you need to understand the brutal difference between calculated kindness and spontaneous kindness. Most religious people never understand this. And that is why they live their whole lives doing good acts without generating any celestial reaction. They are like musicians playing all the right notes, but with no soul, and everyone can feel the difference even if they cannot explain it. Calculated kindness works like this. You see a situation. Your mind immediately begins processing. What will people think if I help or if I do not help? Can I afford the time this will take? Will this person appreciate it or take advantage of me? What spiritual rewards might I receive if I do this? What will it cost me? And after all that mental processing, after weighing the options and considering the consequences, and maybe even praying about it, you decide to act. It is real kindness. It is better than doing nothing. God honors it. But it comes filtered through ego, through expectations, through strategy. It is the Pharisee who fasts publicly so everyone will see how spiritual he is. It is the person who donates money but makes sure their name appears on a plaque in the lobby. It is the Christian who helps the poor but constantly reminds them they are being helped, as if gratitude is the price of generosity. God observes millions of acts of calculated kindness every day. He recognizes them, He blesses them, He honors them. But they do not generate joy in His heart. They generate professional satisfaction, like a teacher watching a student correctly complete an exercise he taught. Fulfillment of expectations, nothing more. Think about it this way. If you teach your child manners and they follow the rules because you are watching, you are satisfied. But if years later you overhear them showing genuine kindness to a stranger when no one is watching, because it has become who they are, that is when joy hits. That is when everything you went through seems worth it. That is exactly what God experienced 3 weeks ago. Let me tell you about spontaneous kindness and why it has power that calculated kindness can never touch. Spontaneous kindness is when your fundamental nature manifests without filters, when the purity of your soul reacts before your mind has time to calculate consequences. It is the Good Samaritan who helped the wounded man when 2 religious professionals passed by. Not because he remembered the correct teachings, not because he wanted to feel good about himself, but because his heart could not function any other way. It is the widow who gave her last 2 coins, not making a show of it, not calculating the spiritual return on investment, but simply giving because generosity is her nature. It is you 3 weeks ago, tired and broke and emotionally drained, seeing someone in need and helping them before your rational mind could talk you out of it. This kind of kindness is not a decision. It is a revelation of character. And when God observes spontaneous kindness, when He witnesses a soul so pure it reacts with generosity before thinking, that generates something deeper than satisfaction. It generates genuine joy. Now, here is what makes your case even more extraordinary. And I need you to pay very close attention to this because it is going to explain why you have suffered so much. Your spontaneous act 3 weeks ago was not an isolated moment. It was confirmation of something God has been watching for years. He has seen every kind gesture you made when nobody was looking. Every time you forgave when you had the right to hold a grudge. Every time you gave when you yourself needed. Every moment where you chose compassion when cruelty would have been easier and more satisfying. But He has also seen something else. He has seen how the world tried to corrupt that purity of yours. Let me be very specific here because I know your story even though we have never met. I know about the betrayal that nearly broke you. The friend who spread lies. The partner who cheated after you gave them everything. The family member who stole from you. The boss who took credit for your work. The people you helped who not only did not appreciate it but actively used your kindness against you. I know about the night you cried. So hard you thought something inside you had physically broken. The morning you woke up and had to force yourself to get out of bed because the weight of disappointment was crushing you. The moment you looked in the mirror and did not recognize the exhausted stranger staring back. The times you asked God why being good only seems to result in being hurt, and the silence that followed felt like abandonment. Every blow should have made you cynical. Every disappointment should have taught you to close your heart. Every betrayal should have convinced you that kindness is for fools. The world gave you every reason, every justification, every logical argument to stop being kind, to build walls, to look out for yourself first, to say, I tried being good, and all it got me was pain. So now, I am going to be smart instead. That is what most people do. That is the normal human response to repeated trauma. But you did not. And when God saw that spontaneous gesture 3 weeks ago, when He confirmed that after years of trials, your kind nature remains intact, automatic, genuine. The joy he felt was so intense it manifested as celestial laughter, because he had finally found a soul whose purity does not depend on favorable circumstances. A chosen one whose kindness is as natural as breathing, even when breathing hurts. Type, "I stayed kind" in the comments if you have felt that exhaustion from being good in a cruel world. But you keep choosing compassion anyway because something deeper than logic tells you this is who you are meant to be. Let me tell you why you specifically, out of 8 billion people on this planet, provoked this response. It is not because you are better than others. It is not because you have achieved some level of perfection. It is because you resisted corruption when everything conspired to corrupt you. Your purity is not the result of an easy life protected from temptations. It is the result of constant battle where you chose to maintain your kind nature, even though it cost you everything. There is a difference between innocent purity and tested purity. Innocent purity is beautiful but fragile, like a flower that has never faced a storm. Tested purity is rare and powerful, like a tree whose roots have grown deep because they had to reach through rocks to find water. Your kindness has been tested by fire. And the fact that it survived, that it remains spontaneous and genuine, that it still manifests automatically without calculation, even after everything you have been through, that is what made God laugh with joy. He has been watching that battle. He has seen every moment where you chose forgiveness instead of revenge. Every time you helped, even though you were tired. Every instant where you gave, even though you needed. He has counted every tear. You cried from feeling alone in your purity. He has heard every time you asked yourself if it was worth continuing to be good in such a cruel world. And when he saw that spontaneous gesture 3 weeks ago, when he confirmed that after all that suffering your kindness remains automatic, natural, genuine, the joy he felt was so intense it manifested as celestial laughter. Because your purity is not naive. It is heroic. Now I need to tell you about the other person in this story, the eternal accuser. The one whose name means adversary. For thousands of years, his role has been to stand before the throne of God and bring accusations against humanity. He is very good at his job. He has extensive documentation of every sin, every failure, every moment of weakness. He builds cases like a prosecutor preparing for trial. And he is relentless. But 3 weeks ago, something unprecedented happened. He had been watching you too. He had a list ready. Your mistakes, your failures, those thoughts you are ashamed of, those moments when you were not kind, when you snapped at someone, when you judged harshly, when you were selfish. He had it all documented, organized, ready to present, and then you did that spontaneous act of kindness. And he stood there in the throne room, his accusation list in hand, and he could not speak, because here is what you need to understand. Accusations have power when they reveal consistent character patterns, but spontaneous kindness, especially after being tested and wounded, reveals core character in a way that silences accusation. It is not that you are perfect. It is that your fundamental nature, what you do without thinking, is good. The accuser opened his mouth to list your failures. God simply replayed that moment from 3 weeks ago, that instant when you helped without calculating, and the accuser fell silent. You cannot accuse someone of corrupt nature when their spontaneous reactions are kind, their instincts generous, their automatic responses compassionate. For the first time in his existence, the eternal accuser had nothing to say. And in that silence, God laughed. Not mockery, not triumph, but joy. The kind of joy that comes from seeing his nature, the image he stamped into humanity at creation, still intact in you despite everything the fallen world has done to try to corrupt it. Now, let me tell you what is coming, because what I am about to reveal is going to set you free from guilt you have been carrying that was never meant to be yours. Because the devil's silence and God's laughter were not just recognition of what you already are. They were activation of what you are about to become. Within the next 60 days, you are going to experience what celestial hierarchies call accelerated divine alignment. I am not promising lottery wins or magic solutions. I am telling you that what needs to shift in your life is about to shift, requiring your continued cooperation with your nature. That impossible work situation will begin resolving in unexpected ways, not through manipulation, but because God decided it is time to visibly reward the purity you maintained invisibly for years. The opportunity will come designed for someone with your character, without compromising your integrity. Pay attention to unexpected conversations. Notice doors opening you did not knock on. Trust your instinct when something feels right. The right people are being guided toward you now. No more toxic connections draining your energy. No more people who mistake kindness for weakness. Someone who recognizes your genuine purity is looking for you. You are the answer to their prayer as they are to yours. Financial breakthrough will flow, though not as money falling from the sky. Income opportunities requiring your exact skills and character will appear. Situations tailor-made for you, as if someone who knows you intimately designed circumstances for your strengths. God is reorganizing the playing field, and that inner peace you desperately needed is establishing itself. The anxiety tormenting you will decrease significantly, not because stress disappears, but because Raphael is healing traumas you did not know you carried. Old childhood wounds influencing your reactions are being addressed at the root. You will respond to triggering situations with unexpected calm, that is, deep healing manifesting. But I need to be honest with you about something. The next 60 days will not be all smooth. There will be tests to confirm you are ready for what is coming. The old you, the one who doubted your worth and questioned whether kindness was weakness, that version will be challenged one more time. You will face a situation where cruelty would be easier than kindness, where selfishness would be more convenient than generosity, where revenge would feel more satisfying than forgiveness. And how you respond in that moment will determine whether you step into the accelerated divine alignment or delay it further. Your choice in that moment will reveal if you truly understand the power you carry. Now I need to tell you about your role in something much bigger than your individual life. Your spontaneous act 3 weeks ago did not just affect you. It sent ripples through spiritual dimensions that are impacting collective human consciousness right now. You are not random. You did not incarnate in this specific moment of history by accident. You were strategically positioned here because there is spiritual warfare determining whether humanity evolves toward light or returns to darkness. And your spontaneous kindness, that purity you naturally manifest, is one of the few things preventing total collapse toward corruption. Think about what is happening in the world right now. Systems that seemed eternal are collapsing. Hidden truths are being revealed. People operating in darkness are being exposed. It is not coincidence. It is not random chaos. It is the result of chosen ones like you maintaining purity when everything conspired to corrupt them. Every time you manifest spontaneous kindness, you are energetically voting for what kind of reality manifests. And when enough souls consistently vote for purity, those votes have sufficient weight to tip the cosmic scale. Dark forces know this. That is why they attacked you so intensely. That is why you suffered disproportionate trials. They were trying to break you before you understood the power you possess. They failed. But you are not alone in this. There are other chosen ones whose spontaneous kindness also made God laugh. Approximately 300 across the planet. 300 among 8 billion. They are being subtly guided to recognize each other. When you find them, you will know instantly. Something in their eyes will reflect what you see in your mirror. Kindness that survived battles, strength from refusing corruption, peace with no logical explanation. Connect with them. When chosen ones unite consciously, they create energy fields powerful enough to transform entire cities. Dark forces cannot operate where two or more collaborate with intention. That is why they work to keep you isolated, to convince you that you were alone in your purity. They lied. 300 more exactly like you exist, scattered across continents, speaking different languages, but carrying the same pure essence. Pay attention. The recognition will be unmistakable. Chosen one. You are a marked chosen one whose genuine purity made God laugh with joy and left even the eternal accuser without arguments. That spontaneous gesture you made without thinking twice provoked divine laughter that crossed all dimensions and activated permanent protections, transforming your reality right now. Your natural kindness is not naivety. It is not weakness. It is spiritual power that reorganizes realities and determines humanity's future. The fact that you stayed until this point in the video proves you recognize something true in these words. You feel it resonating with something deep inside you that you have always known but could never articulate. That is not manipulation. That is recognition. You are remembering who you are. If this revelation touched your heart, if it confirmed intuitions about your special nature, write Amen one more time. And subscribe to this channel and turn on all notifications, because this is just the beginning of what you are going to discover about how you operate on a spiritual frequency few people can access. Share this video with someone who also demonstrates genuine kindness without calculating, because chosen ones need to recognize and strengthen each other. For those who feel called to go deeper into this understanding of how to consciously develop your capacity to maintain genuine purity even under pressure, I have created a resource that includes additional teachings, guided meditations, and practical exercises. It is available in the description link for those who want to amplify their connection with the celestial hierarchies that now officially recognize you. No pressure, only for those who feel genuinely called. Before you go, I want you to click on the video appearing on your screen right now. It reveals how your new classification as a marked chosen one attracts permanent angelic protection and what you can expect in the coming months as your path accelerates. The information in that next video is critical for what you are about to experience. Together we are stronger. Your spontaneous kindness changed celestial priorities. Now, let us see what happens when you understand the full extent of what that means. Amen.